I'm going to circle back here to the top of the show where we discussed some theft, but this is people getting caught from stealing comics.
Yeah, let's get into it. We have some fun stories to just jump right into.
Dude, totally, because we've talked about theft on the show many times and people stealing stuff, but this is the repercussions, because just to understand, people don't just get away.
Oh, no, they seldomly get away.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a collectible here. It's not like you have something that you take and it just disappears. This stays out in the universe. It's wanted. It switches hands. So once it leaves whoever took its hands, it goes to somebody else's hands and then maybe even somebody else. So there is that line of book being traveled and it will get back to you.
That's right.
And you will get caught.
Okay, so we have to tell you about Martin Casas first. This gentleman is a comic book store owner who had a storage unit filled with comics, and he was a victim of theft. Someone broke into his storage unit and stole 3,000 comics, and this happened recently. This story was reported in August of this year.
This man loved his comics. This man clearly loves comics. He owns a comic store, okay? And he told his employees, if someone tries to sell these comics or sell you comics at all, let me know. And show enough attention to where they bring them in or he wants to buy them.
They bring the comics in. The employee sees some comic books that they recognize. So she's like, you got to bring more in. You got more? Bring them in. They bring in more next day.
Yeah, they bring in the rest of the books. Thinking, huge payday. Okay? Because how else do you move comics? It is not easy to move comics. You need to sell them to people who know comics.
And this is why you don't steal comics, is because it's a network. We're all looking out for each other. And in this case, they came back to handcuffs. And
now they wear jewelry on their wrists.
The next story here is really interesting. This actually finished up in 2018. This theft happened over the course of many years, but we're talking about author Teri Brooks. This is a famous fantasy book writer. But he had a trusted law firm that he had been working with for a number of years and felt that this would be a good place to store his comic book collection. Little did he know that there was an employee of the law firm slowly embezzling money from him over the years and stealing comic books all along the way.
You would think your stuff is safe at a law firm or somewhere of the such.
Yeah, you're paying for protection.
And only to realize that
you're going to have to hire them to go to court with them again?
Yeah, you got to hire these law firm who stole from you
to represent
you.
But here we go. This is the quote, though, that I felt we had to read after she was arrested and throughout the trials. It was said here, part of her bond conditions were she is required not to possess or sell comic books in addition to the standard set of bond conditions. It was literally illegal for her to own comic books. It happens. The law can get involved, and comic books can be your reason for going to jail.
On top of those terms, okay, there was actually her sentencing on top of that, because she was found guilty, clear as day, okay? And she was held for $400,000, okay, that she has to pay in restitution. Who knows if she ever will, but she will be paying that for probably the rest of her life. Okay, on top of that, 6 years in prison.
That's right. Now, the collection itself was said to be worth just over $100,000. The rest of that money that she owes is because of the embezzlement. But yeah, that's a pretty big collection that she stole over time. Now, the next story here is insane. This story, I can't believe it didn't make media. It didn't hit media harder. But we're talking about Mile High Comics, and we're not just talking about a crazy story of theft. We're talking about a recent story of theft from their own employee.
This just didn't happen to a small shop. Okay, we talked about other shops. This is also happening to one of the largest stores in the entire world. So big or small, you're going to get caught. Okay, and this is called Mile High, and it's due to not only the location, but the Mile High's stacks of comics they have.
That's right. And we know that this was a former employee because of all of those comic books that they walked past. They knew exactly where to go. But this story of, again, these are all people who got caught. This person got caught real bad. But oh my gosh, I can't believe that this video exists. It hit YouTube in May of this year. This just happened. This gentleman comes in with a mask on, looking for particular comics. He made his way out with close to $50,000 in collectible comics. He went right for certain books, first ASM, you know? And what is he using to break into the glass?
Well, what everybody uses when they want to break into glass, a really sharp, pointy object. He used a knife.
He's like, he's stabbing. He's stabbing the glass to get in.
Yeah, I mean, this video, okay, like, it's comical to see this as, like you mentioned, stabbing the glass and forcibly, like, going in there with his arm and his hand, and can't even measure properly, like, distance, because it's not easy as it shows. It's a struggle.
Yeah, he's like kind of just closing his eyes at a certain point, hoping he doesn't hurt himself, which, guess what? He hurts himself. And as he's going through, I mean, this is someone who thought this through. You got to think about this. This is an employee. This is someone who walked past these books thinking, one day, you know, I know where these are. You know, he's getting hyped up over time. He gets to the store, his heart's pounding. He's wearing like bags on his feet. He doesn't want to leave footprints. This guy is trying to think this through, man.
Yeah, he's walking around with like those booties you get like when you're looking at a house that's for sale. You know, you put on this protective footwear so you don't put like tracks anywhere. And he's walking through. He's not like he's running or rushing. He's comfortable and confident enough. He's like, I got this.
He's going in there thinking it's like Ocean's 11 or something. But as he's being super careful, you know, going in for the comics, he cuts himself.
He cuts himself bad.
He starts bleeding everywhere. So he's thinking he's doing such a good job, and then just DNA. And he starts walking around. Oh, I got to get the towel. So he goes and gets the towel. Oh my gosh, but he's dripping blood at the towel station. So he's got to clean up that. And then he goes back over to the case. He's got to freaking clean up the blood out the case because he's, oh my goodness, what is he going to do? You can imagine the stress. His heart's pounding. He thinks I think he got it. Oh, wait a minute. He bled everywhere. The glass. There's blood all over the glass. So he's got to start picking up the glass. It's like a puzzle. Which glass has blood on it? Do I clean the glass? Wait a minute. Better just take it with me. So he starts taking pieces of the glass and puts it in his bucket. Can you imagine how stressed out this gentleman had to be?
Dude, it looks like he took off a glove. So now he's barehanded, it feels like. I thought I saw a bare hand, okay? He's picking up, like you said, pieces of glass with DNA everywhere. He knew exactly where the cleaners were. So you're like, wait, why does this guy know where
He's
the
like,
cleaners are?
let me go to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah. Okay. And like you have a bin full of comics and now you're filling it up with glass.
Yep.
And then it's like overflowing and you're like, do I dump the comics? Do I take the glass? What am I doing?
My favorite part is him deciding, what do I do with the glass? And he's like, I'm gonna have to take it with me. And then he's realizing, wait a minute, all that blood is my blood. Oh no. So he starts looking for the blood to pick up. It's so bad. But hey, you know what? We get this glorious shot as he's exiting the building. And right as he's exiting, he goes, oh shoot, there's some blood. I missed a little spot of blood. Better clean that up. Because he wants to be sure. He was so careful, man. It's a bummer he hurt himself. But then as he leaves, he doesn't realize that he took his mask off too early and exposed his face to the world. He just didn't think it through, man.
Yeah, you want to talk about exposure too. Let's talk about when he's cleaning up the glass in the blood. Okay, he quickly, slowly, you see the pants slipping off.
Oh my gosh! Let's make sure the comic fam can see that this criminal is bent over, showing his rear to the world.
Yeah, this butt crack gets bigger and bigger every time it's over. I mean, this is like...
He's just bent over cleaning up glass and his butt's hanging out.
Yeah, the glass is cracked. His butt's cracked. I mean, it's all over the place. This whole thing was a nightmare mess for him. I mean...
You can't make this up, man.
No, you can't. It's all videotaped for the world to replay over and over again.
Audio fam, do yourself a favor. If you haven't seen this video, go on YouTube. Just type in Burglar Stole, Mile High Comics. It's there for you to see.